Good morning. My name is Dr. Ben Glass, and today I have Dr. Adrian Wenban from Barcelona Chiropractic College. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your busy schedule, sir, to chat with the prospective students that may be considering your school. It's got a great reputation as being one of the best schools in all of Europe, and I understand you were involved in founding the school. So just thank you for having that vision. Can we get started by you just sharing what the vision for the school was and really where you were at when things started to come together for this school?
Yeah, thank you, Ben. Thanks so much for the opportunity to speak to your audience. I think great if we desperately need more chiropractors out there. It's a great time for that, for sure. It always is, but this is particularly the moment. Yeah, the history of the college, it really was born out of the realization by a small group of chiropractors, practicing chiropractors, myself included, who were based in Spain and around Europe going back about 15 years ago. At that time in Spain, with the population of about 45 million people at that time, we only had about 180 to 200 chiropractors in the country. We were a very small group, very young. If you looked at the demographic, if you looked at the legal framework of chiropractic at that time, we were literally, if you like, by way of comparison, the Midwest of the United States 110 years ago. No legal framework, just a couple of fledgling colleges, a handful of young chiropractors, very, very keen to take chiropractic to the community, but with a lot of work in front of us. It was around that time that we realized that in order to really carve out a niche for chiropractic in this country, we were going to need to start to develop high quality education for chiropractors within the country. Up until that time, chiropractors who had arrived in Spain had done so by way of studying chiropractic overseas, either elsewhere in Europe or, for a lot of them, traveling to the US and learning chiropractic there and coming back and practicing. But at that time, as I say, there were only a handful of chiropractors in the country. Even today, after this college has been in place for 10 years, we only have about 320 chiropractors in Spain. So again, we're scratching the surface and we desperately need more chiropractors. The motivation came out of need, out of that realization. And I think the group of us, when we came together, the dozen or so chiropractors 15 years ago, started meeting and talking about the future of chiropractic in Spain and Europe. You know, there was a strong sense of unity amongst us that said that our individual education in chiropractic, and we represented chiropractors who had been trained from different places around the world. Amongst that dozen or so chiropractors, we had in common a sense that there were some things about our education we felt could definitely be improved. None of us came from any formal educational background in terms of being educationalists. We'd only had experience in being trained as chiropractors at our respective colleges. They included, I came from an Australian college. A couple of other people were from the US, from Europe. So we had quite diverse experience amongst us. And common to that experience was a sense that we hadn't received a lot of continuity in the philosophy that we received in terms of our training. You know, it was very focused at the first year and then seemed to fade into non-existence across the rest of the program. We all felt that the practical components, learning the art of chiropractic, the different techniques and the application of chiropractic was very delayed, late in starting and at the back end of the program of study. We all felt that communication skills was something that were very much left to the back end of the program, and that there was very little in the program related to practice management, to leadership, to team building, to many of the communication skills that underpin being successful in practice. We all felt that those were things that seemed to be divorced from the program of study that we'd undertaken, and that was something that we had to learn once we were out in the field. So we asked, why does it have to be that way? And in developing the program, those things front and center, and there are things that we've modified and I think look very different when you come and study at the Barcelona College.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. And there's so much to unpack with what you just described in regards to the journey of where you've come to this school being what it is today. Um, okay. How should we take this? So for the prospective student, let's just get all of the basic construct out of the way. How long is the course of study? How do they go about preparing themselves to be eligible to enter into the program? What is what is the current demographic of students that you're seeing at the college? And can you just describe a little bit about the college's sort of makeup of faculty, of
Yeah.
student culture? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think great questions. Very interesting from our perspective because the college is by no means typical. It's very, very different. It's different in that this college is a private college of chiropractic, but that has very, very close working relationships and contracts with two of the very best public universities in Spain. We collaborate with the University of Pompeu Fabra and the University Autónoma de Barcelona in terms of delivering our program of study, and both universities are actually presently ranked number 1 and number 2 of the universities in Spain. They're the only 2 universities in Spain that rank in the top 200 in the world. So they're very, very good. But we are a private college, and it's through a collaboration that we work with those universities. Something that's very unique when you come to our college is that it is located city center. A lot of chiropractic colleges around the world are located on the outskirts of cities or even further afield. But one of the nice things I think that attracts a lot of people to the college is the opportunity to study chiropractic. It's a 5-year program of study, runs across 5 years, and it's, as I mentioned, the campus and the facilities are all located within the central city. Provides for a great opportunity if you're looking for that European experience. If you want to learn the language, if you want to experience the culture, the history, the cuisine, very multicultural and very, very lovely geographic location that we have for Barcelona. So something else that's very unique about the college is that we've attempted to set up the world's first bilingual chiropractic college. So the way that works is that when you apply to come to the college, we have an interview process in place wherein we attempt to assess your level of language. And when I say your level of language, I'm talking about as relates to the 2 official languages of the college, and that's English and Spanish. When you apply, you can have a medium to high level of one of those languages, either of the 2, and a low to medium level of the other language. We assess your level of language during the interview process, and your access to the program of study will be then based on the level of the 2 languages that you've got. If, for example, you're native English, a lot of people who come to us are native English or have at least a moderate to high level of English and have very low Spanish, then one of the recommendations when we make an offer of a place at the college to you would be that we require that you undertake the basic Spanish training that you need in order to show us that you have that low to intermediate level that we're looking for. And part of the way that you can achieve that is you can come to Barcelona and enroll in the pre-study language program run as a lead into the academic year. It runs across a month. The way that the academic year is structured, we only have 1 intake per year. It's not like the US where you have trimesters. In Spain and in Europe, they have 2 semesters. It's a 2-semester system. And we have entry at the start of our academic year, which is actually this coming Monday, the very start of November in the case of this year.
Very exciting. So can we really just get into the present moment of how things are going to be delivered? Moving forward, we don't know. However, given the circumstances in Spain and Barcelona in particular, and within the context of that university that you're hosting this program inside of, how are students going to arrive on Monday? And what are some expectations that incoming students should have in regards to their experience in their first year, in their second year, and all the way up through their 5th year?
So something that feeds into that is our program is very hands-on oriented. We have you starting to learn your ability to improve your palpatory skills, your examination, your posture, basics of technique, starting from year one. So right across the program, it's very hands-on. That runs right across the 5 years. Clinical experience, a lot of programs only start their clinical experience in the last year. We start 2.5 years. So the last 2.5 years, you have clinical experience in more and more concentration as you go through the program. I think that the present circumstances and situation has us delivering our theory classes by way of Zoom presentation going into the start of this academic year. And our prac classes are able to run, but they're running in a different way to what they usually would. Usually we would split each year into 2 prac classes, and each of those prac classes would have a couple of classes each week.
Right.
The way we'll be running things going forward, those groups will be bubbled into 3 groups, and they'll be run on a much more individualized time frame across the academic year. So it's bubbling groups. You know, if we have 42 students coming into our first year this year, then those 42 students will be split into 3 groups, and their prac classes all run accordingly. It is also required that we have personal protection equipment in place, that we practice some social distancing practices, and that we have very good hygiene in place as well. So those things all conform to government regulations, but there's no problem with us running the prac classes based on current guidelines from the government, and we're also running our clinic as well. So our 3rd year, 4th year, 5th year students have no problem starting and heading towards completing their clinical requirements, again, with those other elements that I mentioned being respected and in place.
Amazing. So who are some of the people that you've recognized are doing really well within your program? Some of the people that you're attracting into the program are coming from different backgrounds. Yeah. Can you speak a little bit about who are some of the ideal candidates for the chiropractic program that you're offering? And also maybe just touch on what are some of the opportunities that students have when they're studying at your school that they may not be conscious of? And really, sorry to ask a third question in there, but how does the school compare to some of the other health professions in Barcelona, health profession programs that are being offered, and maybe that students are considering going in your direction or a different direction? Why should they really look at chiropractic as being a great path for them?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I think, you know, just to start where you posed the initial point, and that was, you know, who's attracted and what is it that attracts people to Barcelona specifically. I think, you know, we have a very broad and diverse demographic of students coming to the college. At the moment, we have approximately 160 students at the college spread across the 5 years. Those students come from 24 different countries. So they represent different countries, very, very diverse. I think the fact that we're city center, Barcelona, very attractive, but also that we're bilingual allows for a diversity of students to be interested and to come and study here. Fully 50% of the students that are presently enrolled at the college, neither English nor Spanish is their first language. So they're studying into second and third languages compared to their native, which is, you know, you would think would be very, very challenging. But I think the nice thing is that we have a very strong support base in place for the language. You know, during the first year, some of the lectures are simultaneously translated so that when a student comes into a classroom, if the teacher is choosing to just present in one language, then a lot of times it will be simultaneously translated by 2 professional translators in a soundproof booth at the back of the room simultaneously. Otherwise, we also have tutorial support for the language, and you know, students don't have to do their exams or any clinical work until they get into the 3rd year, wherein they, during the first couple of years, can do exams either in English or in Spanish, and they receive their assessment and exams in both English and Spanish as well. So that provides a soft landing, I guess, on a lot of levels in terms of language. Very diverse age profile. We have students all the way from 18 straight out of school through to we have some people who are coming here with second, beginning their second and third career, who are in their 50s. I think the oldest student that we've graduated has just entered into their 60s. So very, very diverse. Again, it's got a lot, I think, to attract people who are looking for a program that empowers them to be able to work in either a Spanish or a primarily English-speaking context. We're very focused on empowering people to have a great sense of what chiropractic is from the point of view of balancing amongst the traditional tenets of philosophy, science, and art. We really pride ourselves on delivering an integrated curriculum that makes sure that what's being taught at one moment in any year is integrated across the curriculum, what's called horizontally, but that it's also integrated vertically across 1 year to the next as well. So to do that, we have a number of streams. We have a philosophy stream that runs vertically across the program from first year through to fifth year. We have a technique stream, personal development. So there's a lot going on from first year. Students get good education from first year in communication, leadership skills, team building. We start to share practice management related modular material from the third year of the program. So I think it's a very, it's a progressive program. It's built out of some of the best educational practices that are standard for the United Kingdom, for example. I think that it's an innovative program, and I think the feedback that we get is that it certainly empowers students to go out there and I think hit the ground running on a level to which we still have work to do, but I think it's certainly an improvement on some of what's been done in the past within the profession.
No, for me, having been to 2 different chiropractic programs in the U.S., it sounds like you're offering a truly holistic approach to chiropractic education that takes into consideration the real world experience of having to be able to communicate chiropractic most often in cultures that are not used to hearing the message of chiropractic, even though it is familiar to their origins, their indigenous cultures. There really has been a watering down of what it looks like to be healthy, what it looks like to live your life to the fullest. So amazing. So can you speak a little bit about these progressions within these different skill sets that students are going through? You spoke about the philosophy. How do you bring people through a 5-year program in developing their understanding of chiropractic philosophy? Because a lot of people that are prospective students may not recognize the depth of the philosophy and the depth of chiropractic, both from a philosophical standpoint, but also the science. A lot of people just think that it is similar to what osteopaths do, or it's similar to what physiotherapists are doing more and more now. How is chiropractic different, and how do students really develop themselves to become professional chiropractors? Because it sounds like you're offering so much.
Yeah, I think, the philosophy of our profession, philosophy of chiropractic and philosophy as a discipline are extremely important. I think it's important that the discipline is looked at in a broad context. We look at it as having a number of branches, and so we attempt to focus into that by looking at the history of the philosophy within the profession. We look at the metaphysics, we look at the epistemology, the aesthetic, we look at the ethics and the politics. And, that's looked at in different depths across the program of study, but it's certainly not left to the first year. There's an attempt to try and advance people's understanding of those different disciplines, particularly looking at philosophy, not as a doctrine, not as a body of ideas or historical concepts, but really looking at it as a process of asking questions and not necessarily coming up with the ideal answers. I think it's about, evolving better questions often and utilizing the tools offered by those different disciplines to critically analyze our thinking and our concepts in order to, one, remove the contradictions that often exist, I think, between those different components of our profession, the philosophy, science, and art, I think it's very easy to have a sense of the philosophy, but have trouble in terms of walking our talk in terms of that philosophy. When it comes to the clinical application of what we do, I think that a lot of what's being done out there in the field often is taken from a more mechanistic, a more reductionistic, deterministic, atomistic perspective, absorbing what medicine has operationalized as a clinical encounter. I think our fundamental philosophical constructs, our clinical metaphors are very powerful, very needed at the moment. I think the ideas of health from within, the concepts of universal and innate intelligence, this idea that we have within us this incredible organizing capacity to steer us towards homeostasis and optimum adaptive capacity are very powerful metaphors that really at the moment are front and center. People learning to start to take the locus of control within and becoming empowered to think about their day-to-day decisions as contributing or detracting from their health as it sits on a spectrum, on a sliding scale, where you're always moving either towards greater health, optimum health and well-being, fulfilling your potential as a human being, or sliding in the other direction. As far as it goes with our students, we've always underpinned the program with the fundamental idea that in order to fulfill your potential as a chiropractor, you must first and foremost start to have a sense of explore, develop, evolve your potential as a human being.
Yes. No, absolutely. And I believe that the message you just shared right there is the true differentiator for chiropractic from osteopathy or physiotherapy. We're not trying to fix people. We're not focused on rehabilitation. We're focused on a life-enhancing service that really can serve a baby that's completely healthy or serve somebody in their later years who are looking to just live their best life. So thank you for sharing that, because I think that for high school and college students, or even career transitioners that are burnt out from a previous career, that's an inspiring message that you get to show up every single day at your clinic, at your office, whatever space you create. It could be a healing space. We're not in hospitals. It's a very uplifting environment. It's very exciting place to be and spend your years. So what you mentioned questions, and I'm a very big person when it comes to the quality. The question you ask determines the quality of your experience in life. And what would you how would you shape a question about a pre-chiropractic program that could really aim to contextualize the profession and prime students that are aiming to maybe enter your program is 6 months out, a year out, maybe 2 years out? How would a pre-chiro program change things for your incoming students? That's my question.
I think the nature of the questions we ask predetermine where we end up in life. It's that you can determine your future by the shape of the questions that you ask, and the contradictions or the congruency with your underlying values as a human being, as a chiropractor, I think shape very much where we end up. I think one of the important things for us as educators is to empower students in critical analysis, in question asking, in order to help them eliminate the contradictions between what they value in this life and the actions they bring to bear, the beliefs, the voice, the communication, and the actions they bring to bear on this very, very important time in the history of the human race. One of the questions I think that's just not given enough credence and not developed, or that doesn't have enough prominence in our profession today, was what D.D. Palmer described as the foremost question in his mind. And that question was, why does someone sitting at the same table, eating the same food, same thoughts, same physical environment, experience health, while the person next to them experiences a loss of that health? He didn't ask what causes disease. He's asking what facilitates our health and optimum adaptive capacity. It's an important flip in focus. It's a paradigm shifting question that I think is the ground of substance of what today is probably referred to as salutogenesis. Salutogenesis, the exploration and the model of care born out of a concern and a search for the genesis of salud or health, as opposed to being pathogenically focused, which is what much of biomedicine, which is 90% of today's so-called healthcare, disease care systems are actually pathogenically driven, as opposed to looking for that which facilitates and supports our existing state of health.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So yeah, as a chiropractic student, you actually study normal physiology. You differentiate normal physiology, which is designed for homeostasis, from adaptive physiology, which is stress physiology. And there's many stressors that the human has to adapt to these days. And it's a beautiful differentiator, because from a clinical viewpoint, your perceptions really shape your behaviors. And a chiropractor, when they receive somebody into their office, they have a positive expectation about the outcome that they're going to have with the person, because they remain connected to a simple principle of adjusting the spine to shift the physiology through the nervous system, through the brain. And that empathy that we have the ability to provide for people, because we spend more time with people than most doctors do. Can you speak a little bit about some questions you're asking of yourself these days in regards to how Barcelona Chiropractic College can maybe expand its reach within the world, but also just about the future of the profession in Europe and what its potential might be?
Yeah, they're excellent questions, Ben. I think that the potential of the profession, when we work hard to evolve and develop education, our research, and our clinical model and health promotion out there in the community, when we align that with the fundamentals of this profession, the fundamental philosophical constructs that our forefathers developed and evolved for us, I think the potential is unlimited. Again, we have a healthcare system that's just not. We have a healthcare system which is very much a disease care system. And I think that, today we see many of the consequences of that focus on disease and failure to move towards empowering people to proactively support and develop their health. We have some canaries in the coal mine, if you like, that are screaming. One of the, everyone's looking and focused very much on the COVID situation, which is in itself a form of a canary in a coal mine, an early warning system. Pretty late actually, but it's certainly a warning system for the kind of life that we're living, the lifestyle. But there are other things as well. One of the the elephant in the room from an epidemiological point of view, I think, is male infertility. They've looked at the numbers, and year on year across developed countries, broadly what's referred to as developed countries around the world, we have a significant fall in fertility amongst males around the world. Testosterone levels dropping, spermatogenesis, the ability to be able to reproduce, is significantly dropping. And when they look at the numbers since the mid 1990s through until 2017, there's been a drop of about something in the order of 79% in the level of reproductive capacity amongst males around the world in developed countries. So there's a lot of conversation about what drives that. There's certainly, I think, we're putting a lot of pollutants, a lot of endocrine disruptors out into our environment, and we just can't continue the way we are. Yeah. Having said that, there are a lot of stresses that we've added. We've moved a long way away from our evolutionary niche, where our incredible multicellular carbon-based bodies evolved. And as much as we have increased stressors, a lot of, I think, what's underpinning and allowing our health to slip away for many people is the removal of what were very, very important stressors that allowed our bodies to evolve these incredible adaptive capacities that we have. With those things removed from our environment today, with us having become, if you like, stone ages in the fast lane, it's been referred to, we've cut away many of the fundamental things that keep us healthy. Things that we're just too close to the trees to see the forest for. I'm talking about exposure to extremes of heat and extremes of cold. I'm talking about the type of exercise that fewer and fewer people do. Mobility is an essential driver of our nervous system's capacity to underpin normal cognition and normal immune function. The kind of cuts and abrasions, bruises that come with interacting closely with nature are shown to be an essential part of sustaining a normal operative immune system. So increasingly, I think fields outside of chiropractic, whether you're talking about psychoneuroimmunology, whether you're talking about evolutionary epidemiology, we're seeing more and more information coming to hand that shows that we're losing our adaptive capacity, that it's overwhelmed so easily, not because we have so much more stress in some ways, but on very, very important metrics and physiological parameters, we're cutting away much of what constitutes the balancer, the driver of a normal, for example, parasympathetic, sympathetic balance within that very, very important adaptive component of our nervous system, the autonomic nervous system.
So yeah, a lot of what was just described there, the autonomic nervous system, the parasympathetic, sympathetic tone, specific nerves like the vagus nerve and its influence on the immune system or its influence on the digestive system. These are some of the topics that you go deep into as a chiropractic student, and you begin to understand how the human body works, and you see things in relationship with one another in such a beautiful intelligence with one another, where things are coordinated intelligently. There's no outside influence that needs to teach the body how to do its thing. The body's programmed to function and operate in a way that as a chiropractic student, you just begin to feel so much appreciation, and you recognize how amazing the body is. And you really don't need to help the body, so to speak, except you just need to support the body. And the chiropractor has a different way of seeing people. They don't see them as being broken individuals when they come in. Even if someone comes into my office and they speak of male infertility, I'm going to come right back to the connection between the nervous system and the endocrine system and the environmental influences that these people might be living in that are having an impact. However, I'm not going to sit there and say, okay, you have these symptoms, so we're going to just give you something to prescription to do it for you. You're going to do it yourself, and we're going to support you on your path.
Great.
Beautiful how you describe some of the sciences in chiropractic. Allostatic load is one of the scientific terms that we're seeing a lot to describe adaptive physiology and the load that the environment puts on our body and our mind. Can you speak a little bit about the vision for Barcelona Chiropractic College? What's the capacity if you do get a huge influx of students, which I'm assuming you will in the upcoming years? How are you looking stage-wise to grow the college and to expand the college?
Yeah, one of the exciting things for us is we have very good capacity. Because of our affiliation with the universities, we have access to very good quality classrooms, administrative space, areas, and the university's libraries, which facilitate growth. Now that we've been operational for 10 years, we've developed the systems. We now have the capacity really to undergo some significant growth without it threatening and compromising the quality of the program. So yeah, there's definitely scope for us to grow. Again, we increasingly get interest from overseas. We increasingly have students from all over the planet attending. You know, we now have students from Russia, from Estonia. This year, I believe, I've just been told we have 9 students from Australia enrolled. So, you know, we have a lot of interest. And, you know, we've got students coming from other parts of the world where there are already chiropractic programs, but you know, they see value in the unique aspects of this program to the extent that they're willing to cross the globe and and come and spend time with us, which is it's a real honor to have that opportunity. But it's also predicated on some of the unique aspects of the program that we've already started to talk about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, if you're a prospective student, highly recommend Barcelona Chiropractic College. We're going to definitely feature the school on the website as one of the top rated schools in the world, and provide as many resources as we can, as many different people's perspectives who have gone through the program or are working on the faculty, visit the college in seminar format. We just spoke with somebody who said, the one thing I can say about Barcelona Chiropractic College is they do a really good job of keeping their students happy. And this was someone who had been to almost every school on the planet and had a lot of perspective to share. So anyway, I just want to thank you for the job you're doing out there to support the profession and to continue driving forward this future generation of chiropractic, because the future is bright for the profession, and there's so much potential that we have to meet the needs of our communities. So
it's really important, Ben. I very much appreciate your work as well, just sharing this information with prospective students or people interested in chiropractic. There are many options in terms of career out there today. I can't speak highly enough of the potential of chiropractic. I think that it's got so much to offer. I think when, again, connected with its traditional philosophical constructs and made congruent in education, science, and clinical practice, I think it is the future of healthcare. We just have to get out there and share it. We need to get over ourselves and go that extra mile to let people know it's out there, because my experience is when people really see it for what it is and explore it to its potential, it really can provide very, very amazing results and be the profession of the future in terms of a true healthcare system, I think.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, you heard it there from the principal of Barcelona Chiropractic College. This is a profession of the future. If you're looking for a purpose-driven path for yourself in life and looking for a way to really change lives and support people in a sustainable way, just using your hands and understanding how people's bodies and minds are connected, and just really making a huge change in your community, then consider chiropractic. Thank you so much, Adrian, and I wish you a really good day, and appreciate you sharing with the students today.
Thank you, Ben. Take care.
You too, man.